sir, like how he rules in. Likewise, we are expecting. So, in this session, that is WoW 40th session, I once again welcome to all and thank you all for your excellent contribution. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. A short video on war will be played now.
Thank you.
Sir, like how he rules in. Likewise, we are expecting. So, in this session, that is WoW 40th session, I once again welcome to all and thank you all for your excellent contribution. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. A short video on war will be played now.
Thank you.
Thank you for the short video. I request our research officer, ma'am, to introduce the speaker of the day.
Very good morning to one and all, and very happy morning, Krish. But I must say, good night and not a very happy morning to you. Let me start with the expression of gratitude before I go on to apologizing for certain technical delays here. When we have a lot of gratitude, we start feeling that whatever we have is enough. So right now, Krish Krishnamurthy, the speaker of today's WoW, a very distinguished friend of mine, if I can call, he is there in Denver at 10:30 plus in the night on a Sunday, waiting to start the next week, filled week, by going to bed very late tonight. And thank you, Krish, for joining in this late, despite all your other hurdles in technical aspects. I also thank this college, which has been so wonderfully participative. At 10 o'clock in the morning, which has never happened in our 40 weeks, we have about 417 students logged in already, which is a phenomenal feat, if I can say. So let me thank the principal and the coordinator who has been behind this. And I also thank the team here at our office who has been backing all these programs all along. Thank you, one and all. And Krish, before I continue, my sincere apologies. I had committed that we will start sharp at 10 so that we don't let you go to bed past midnight. But we had to face a couple of issues, and therefore we are delayed. Sorry for that. And also the students who've been very patiently logged in, my sincere apologies for the delay. Let me briefly introduce Krish Krishnamurthy, today's speaker, and not stand between you and him before he delivers his speech. He has been here in Tamil Nadu, born and brought up, and spent his entire education years with us in Tamil Nadu, and instantly he has jumped continents. I should say his first hop was somewhere in the Gulf for a couple of years, where he was working in a ship building yard. And then the next jump was to the American continent, where he has settled down for good. And we have lost a dear friend in the process, but he has been growing himself and helping others also grow. And today, Krish, we would be very eager to listen to your speech on both sides of leadership, and please take it forward right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the brief introduction. I request Gopinath, Assistant Professor from Tiruvika College, to welcome the gathering.
அலைபேசி வழியாக இணைய வழி வாராந்திர பயிற்சி பட்டறையில் இணைந்திருக்கும் அனைவருக்கும் இனிய காலை வணக்கம். எனது பெயர் பா. கோபிநாத், இயற்பியல் துறை உதவி பேராசிரியராக திருவிக அரசு கலைக்கல்லூரியில் பணிபுரிகிறேன். ராஷ்டிரிய உச்சார் சிக்ஷா அபியான் திட்டத்தின் கீழ் எங்கள் கல்லூரிக்கு இந்த கல்லூரி மாணவர்கள் சார்பாக தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். திரைக்கடல் ஓடியும் பிறரையும் தேடு என்று ஒன்றை வேண்டும் சொல்லிக் கொடுத்திருக்கிறார்கள். அதுபோல் திரைக்கடல் ஓடி அறிவு பிறவியம் தேடி எமது கல்லூரியில் படிக்கும் மாணவர்களுக்கு அவற்றை வழங்குவதற்காக காத்திருக்கும் கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி அவர்களுக்கு என்னுடைய பணிவான வணக்கத்தையும் நன்றியும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். மேலும் இந்த திட்டத்தை எங்கள் கல்லூரிக்கு வழங்க முன்னின்று இருந்த சாவினுடைய திட்ட இயக்குநர் அவர்களுக்கும் மேலும் அதில் இருக்கும் அனைத்து அலுவலர்களுக்கும் எங்கள் நன்றியையும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். மேலும் அறிவாம்பதம் வழங்க காத்திருக்கும் ஐயா கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி அவர்களுக்கும் பெற காத்திருக்கும் மாணவர்களுக்கும் இடையில் இருக்க நான் விரும்பவில்லை. எங்கள் கல்லூரியின் சார்பில் நன்றியும் வணக்கத்தையும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன்.
Thank you, Gopinath sir, for the warm welcome. I request our guest of the day, sir, to please take over the session.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to address you guys. I'm really excited to share my experience with you guys. And I thank Vanati and Mr. Gopinath for giving me this opportunity to address our students of Tamil Nadu in the Trivika Thiruvarur Arts College. So students, are you guys ready? Shall we get started? I hope you guys can hear me. Maybe you guys are on mute. Let me see.
Krish, we normally have the audio muted for the students.
Okay.
They do participate in chat.
So they can hear me, right?
Yes, they can. We do hear you.
Okay. Let me share my screen and you'll go from there. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's taking some time.
Yes, sir, we are able to see your screen.
Okay. All right, friends and students, let's get started. So this session, I'll try to keep it informal. The ultimate goal is you guys have to get the message I'm trying to deliver. So I'll try to speak both in English and Tamil, so you guys will be able to participate. And you guys are muted. If you have any questions at the end, we can address it. Or if in between, I'm not sure how it is handled, we'll take it from there. So let's start with the today's topic, that is leaders and followers. Two sides of the same coin. So in the meeting, as an introduction before I joined, there is this comment on bringing or developing leaderships among the students. I will address that part as well. But the main essence of this session would be both leadership and followership are needed to be successful. Maybe an institution, or maybe a country, it doesn't matter. So it's a combination of both. A leader without follower, it's a dummy leader. He cannot do anything alone. So he has to have the followers. At the same time, good followers will only support good and ethical leaders. So I will talk about it a little bit more on that. So let me jump to the next session. Before I jump, who are not on mute, any questions, or can I move to the first slide of the topic?
Students
Okay.
are normally muted.
Others
we don't
can.
mute till the end of the session.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So let's start with leader. Leader na yaar. So you would have seen many combinations from Rajinikanth, from MGR, Shivaji. Everybody has a definition of a leader, and they have their own internal leadership in their mind. So in a nutshell, we can have multiple definitions. Most of them, if you see, they're all positive. So the leader is the person who make others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more than you are a leader. So first thing is a leader can grow himself, but that's not good enough. Suற்றுச்சூழல், he has to create it so that followers can grow as well. At one point, followers will become the leader. See, leader, everybody is in model. We are not. We are model, right? At one point, leader has to retire, and someone has to take over as a leader, right? So, as a good leader, we need to groom that person. We have to identify and groom that person. So, if you're leading a country, suddenly one good leader is gone, what do you do? And the subsequent successful, the person who is taking over should be intelligent and able to lead the country. Ultimately, the country has to move on, right? So that is the main thing. So we have to fulfill the dreams of the followers and become and you are a leader. So a leader, most of the time, leader has only two hands, right, and one head. He cannot do everything. A lot of things are going on, right? So that's where the dedication come into play. If you are a leader, உங்களுக்கு 20 வேலை இருக்குன்னா 20 வேலையும் லீடரால பண்ணவே முடியாது, right? So at that time, the leader has to identify, okay, in the job, in the person is good. You have to delegate, trust this person to do the job. Otherwise, you cannot complete all the jobs in hand. நானே தான் எல்லா வேலையும் பண்ணுனா, then it will take 3 months. By that time, you will lose the target. So the leader is only good when he or she can achieve through other people. Not like in one-man show, like James Bond மாதிரி எல்லா இடத்துக்கும் அவரே போய் சுட்டுட்டு இருக்க முடியாது. So everybody has to participate. The leader has to bring that environment to the whole group he is working for. That is the another definition of a leader. Next thing is, you would have seen many leaders, right? Yeah, they are good. They will attain the target, and also they will deliver what they're asked. But that is not the only expectation from the leader. Leader has to groom the followers, as I mentioned before. At the same time, a leader, a follower, உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது டவுட் இருந்தா, you should be able to approach to the leader in a correct time, and you should be able to tell your problems. It may be a problem which you need some help from the leader. Leader stricta, come back in the evening. If a leader is very strict, and if he has a fear, right, you cannot work with the leader, and the problems will not be resolved on time. So the leader should be approached. அணுகும் தகுதி இருக்க வேண்டும். அதாவது நீங்க போனீங்கன்னா சிம்பிளா, ஓகே, the follower should not be scared or afraid to approach the leader. That is very important. And another important thing is, ஒரு ப்ராப்ளத்தை சால்வ் பண்றது you can do in multiple ways. Put many things. Simple problem may be complex, but the method to solve it, right, it should be, we have to choose the simplest possible way. In management, we call it as KISS. Keep it simple and stupid, right? So that's the way. If it is simple, if the process is simple, you can have many followers who can follow that. If the process is so that means what? You can get many things done at the same time because you made the process simple. Are they complex? Problem may be complex. I'm not saying each problem can be made to modified by a simple resolution. No, it's not true. As much as possible, we have to make the approach to solve the problem simpler so that many people can use it. So இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா Android இருக்கு, Apple இருக்கு. Apple became the first successful touch screen phone. Why is that? Because it's simple to use. Then many people followed it. Now everybody's so the first impact is try to keep things simple. Then only it will reach many people. Ultimately, many will be benefited. So that's why the fourth point now, most of it we call management consists of making it difficult for people to get their work done. So sometimes we call it as controlled complexity. Or environment, company இருக்கட்டும், இல்ல college இருக்கட்டும், இல்ல பெரிய institution இருக்கட்டும், some people will introduce unnecessary complications because of many reasons. One is job security, so that no one else can do it. If you make it simple, many people will learn, and obviously, globally, eventually it will be beneficial for all. But some folks with a narrow mind, they think if we make it simpler, many people can follow, and then they may lose their power. That is, yeah, it may be true in a short term. In the long term, as a leader, that is not true. So the more you share, the more you shine. Okay, so this is the, so like this, நீங்க லீடரை பத்தி நீங்க இதுல பாருங்க, internetல or LinkedIn, anywhere, you will see numerous things talking about leader and grooming a leader, how to become a leader. There will be a lot of articles in the internet, even in management studies. So all are focused on leaders. That is how this has been happening in the last, I would say, 30 or 40 years. But followers, right? Without follower, there is no leader. A single man cannot be a leader. He can be leader to himself, right? But followers, many of the management authors, if you see today, everything is focused on leaders. While they discuss leaders, they will bring the followers to that context without giving much importance to the followers as a whole. So that's the problem I'm trying to address. So that's why I put this. They are both sides of the coin. Followers are also important as leaders. So ஒரு company எடுத்துங்க. So if you have only leaders, all good leaders from gold medalists, all are leaders, then who is going to do the actual work and who is going to complete the target? The leader is only leading. There is nobody to lead. He can lead the robots and the machines. That's it. So that's why followers are also very important, and as important as leaders. In some cases, a company with so many leaders and with very less followers and dedicated workers cannot be successful in a long run. Okay, let me go to, so this slide I put together just to give you guys an highlight of kattukadaigal. Mostly it's all myths, okay? Obviously, based on our politics and the management, they have kind of leader na idella avaroda qualities, follower na idella avaroda qualities. So I just collected and put it together. But this slide is to tell you how the society is seeing a leader and followers. But these are just carnal near. Don't give, these are not really true. Okay, there is no stereotyping here. So I will go one by one. My main idea is, majority of the people are seeing leaders and followers. What I'm trying to say is, the things I put in together are all myths. There is no truth to it. Let's go one by one. So leader na, our pitch, he will keep on speaking or giving you instructions, and followers has to listen. That is what first mindset. Leader na, oh, leader பேசுறாருப்பா, பேசாம இருக்க, கேட்டுக்கோ சொல்றதெல்லாம். Yes, but if sometimes, if a leader, as a follower, you have a responsibility of doing what leader is saying. That is good. That's the first responsibility. Let's take an example of a company. Company or a leader telling the employee, worker, you have to do this. Okay. What if the worker knows more than a leader? Sometimes it's possible. நீங்க பார்த்திருப்பீங்க சில கம்பெனில, or even for collegesல, a lab technician or a person who gardener working in a college, or even a person who fixes the mechanical instruments. They may be having more than 30 years or 35 years of experience in their job. And you may see a leader who may be a new professor or a new manager in a company, just completed master's somewhere and came in with a lot of book knowledge with very less practical knowledge. Okay. He comes and says something. Yeah, some things will be true, but in practically, right, everything you cannot go by book. Bookla படிச்சது, it will be helpful. You can use as a guidance, but அதே மனப்பாடம் பண்ணி நம்ம எழுதுற மாதிரி, it won't work in the real life. That's why you need to value the experience on that. So if a leader சொல்றதெல்லாம், sometimes leader may be wrong because that person may not be worked in this kind of environment or experience in the field இருக்காது. But he may be an intelligent person. At that time, even though what leader says is, if you see something what leader is saying is not good, you have to raise the hand in a polite way. You see, some leaders will take the critics politely. That's a good leader. That's how the leader should be. Sometimes they take it in a offensive way. So technically, doesn't matter. As a follower, if you think something is wrong, you have to raise the hand to correct or tell the leader this is how it's being done. The reason is, yeah, you are going against the will of the leader. That is okay. But if you don't do it, if no one is doing it, then the leader will keep on doing the same mistake, and eventually the group and organizations will be affected. அந்த பாதிப்பு உடனே தெரியாது. This cancer மாதிரி, it will take some time. Eventually company பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சரியாவே பண்ணாது, stock கம்மியாகும், their production quality is not good. So these things will not happen next day, and the problem தெரியாது. So if a leader has a problem, as a follower, they should somehow indicate what leader is doing is wrong. That's where the good followers will always follow and support good leaders and ethical leaders. Bad followers, I will talk about the bad followers later. So that is the first part. The next one, they say leader only will have all this confidential information. They want what's the sales number of last year, or how many goods we sold, like that. They are controlled, and the followers, they won't give them a clear picture. It's a vague number. Yeah, we did around 60%. So basically, they will let the followers to guess. So information is very critical for any decision. அதே number இப்ப followers, the experienced followers கிடைச்சதுன்னா, they will also make good decisions. And then leader, they think leader know what he's doing, followers can give only the opinion. Okay, because they just have to follow what leader is saying. Not true. Followers sometimes can excel leaders. And then leaders make the decision and do what they are told, followers. Again, you have to, it depends. Sometimes leader may be wrong, or follower can be wrong too. But the idea is you have to consult. It's not always one-way communication. You got to, sometimes on both sides, there may be some improvements, which we should anticipate and then welcome that. So direct resources make to do with, obviously you guys have, leaders will be paid more, followers will be doing same work for less pay. That is management style. And then leaders command and followers have to obey. In this day and world, this world, that is not true at all. If something is wrong, you have the right to ask the questions to the leader and ask them why that is done in that way. Then, so these are the myths I just put together. Do not take this, consider this as myth, and do not judge anyone, a leader or a follower, based on these traits. Okay, that's the key thing. So that will be honest to yourself, and then, and don't be afraid or scared. If something, you think something is wrong, you have every right to report. All right, and then let me talk about the followers. See, followers, the reason why I'm giving importance to followers are, you will never see a lot of articles, as I mentioned before, talking about the followers. Followers are always brought in when you talk about leadership. And they'll say, as a good leader, you need to make followers get the right info, all good. But they never give more importance to the followers. So I'm doing the contradictory thing here, talking about different types of followers. There's several research done. This has been going on for some time. In many years, leadership, management is mostly leadership centric. But later, இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா யூடியூப் எடுத்துங்க, Facebook, Instagram, and then Twitter. These things, the social media platforms, raise the awareness of the followers. இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, they will count how many followers you have in many of this, right? So followers' importance is indirectly propagated, and if you see the awareness of followers now and even 20 years before, we are in the right directions, and thanks to the social media platforms. It's one of the reasons everybody knows followers are very much important as leaders. So now, since I made it very clear, followers are also the other side of the coin, now we have to go a little bit deep on the followers. Followers, there are several research done on types of followers, because if you want to be a successful leader, you need to know the follower psychology and the types and how they react and behave. If you don't know your followers, you cannot be a successful leader. You will be like Hitler, just dictatorship. Yeah, dictatorship will work for some time. It won't work for long, right? So that's the main reason. We'll talk about the types of followers. See, you have to be, at this point, you should be very clear. Followers are not inferior. They are equal, and the other side of the coin. One side blank coin, you cannot even use it anywhere, right? So let's talk about the types. Isolates. So this one, you can relate this types to everywhere, in college, in school, in universities, even in employment, companies, big companies, small company, doesn't matter. You will see these types. And let me explain each of them. Isolate. Isolates na, அந்த காலத்துல when we were, and I was in I think 80s high school, ரஜினியோட சாங் ஒன்று இருக்கு, ராம ஆண்டா என்ன ராவணா ஆண்டானா எனக்கு ஒரு கவலை இல்லை. That is the isolate. Okay, they don't care whether they have a good leader or a bad leader. Okay, their job is do as less as possible without affecting their salary or without getting blamed by the professor or lecturer. So these kind of people, see, they don't do anything bad or anything good. So that's the problem with the isolate. These type of folks, if you have too many in the company, eventually or even in any organization, it's not good. Eventually the growth will come down. There are many reasons. See, it is not like they will rebel, strike it. They will just be dormant, okay? Do minimum things what they can do. And then, see, there are many reasons for that. It is very, very hard to find for a leader to change and isolate. So he has to be an expert, or she has to be an expert to do that. Isolates, see, react பண்ணாம எப்பயுமே ஒரே மாதிரி, then they have their own mindset, okay? It's hard to change those people. They are all passive people. So for this is the toughest and also it's inefficient group. If you leave it like this for long, it will have severe consequences. As I said, you won't see it next day. Eventually you'll see it, and it's hard to turn it over. So the main reason, there are many reasons for this. One is, first thing is you need to identify those folks. They don't have any kind of sticker written on their forehead, I am an isolate. First thing is identifying them. You will find out once you move with them and interact and identify that the best way to turn over the isolates or eliminate isolates is talking to them in a one-on-one basis. As I said, leader has to be approachable. If you're not approachable, sometimes there is a chance, if you're approachable, isolate will come and talk to you and share their problems. If you're always in that grip and strict, then obviously they may not come. Eventually, you will have issues at the end. So this is the toughest part, identifying the isolate and fixing them. So at one point, see, human mind is very complex, right? So a leader, to his extent possible, he has to try, or she has to try to change the isolates personally, one-on-one meetings. But at one point, தமிழ்ல சொல்லுவாங்க திருந்த முடியாத கேஸ் அப்படின்னு, திருத்த முடியாத கேஸ். So if you have something like that, then no other option. You have to let them go. If you keep them, if you're one or two, if you're so many of them in that cadre, eventually it not only affect the company, it also affect other followers as well. So that's the isolate. The next category is bystander. That is பார்வையாளர்கள். Okay, but they are little bit different than isolates. See, isolates, they don't know, they don't even pay attention to what is happening around them. Okay, they will be in their own world. But bystanders are not like that. They know what is going on. Company சரியா பண்ணல, they know all those things, but they don't take any action or contribute to fix the problem, but they know what is happening. So those are bystanders. They're better than isolates, but still they don't contribute. They know what's going on. That is the bystanders. Even the bystanders, what they expect is whatever manager says, right? They don't even ask any questions. They will just do, even though they know this manager is saying something not correct, they don't raise their hand. எதுக்குடா நமக்கு இந்த வம்பெல்லாம், சொல்றதை செஞ்சுட்டு போயிட்டே சம்பளம் வந்தா சரி, அந்த மாதிரியான கேஸ். So these people, somewhat, the one good thing is these people they know what's going on, but they don't do any action to rectify it. That means they are better than isolates. So these folks, if you have one-on-one meeting with them and try to understand their problem, there is a possibility of turning them into good followers, participants, or activists than isolates. What I'm trying to say is they are little bit moldable than isolates. So those are bystanders. Then the participants. Participants are பங்கேற்பாளர்கள். They think, there are many people in this category, they always think, நம்ம சம்பளம் வாங்குறோம், நம்ம டைம் இங்க ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்றோம். It may be college, school, or any institution. So we have to do something for the money we are getting. So they have that kind of ethics. They try to contribute. They feel guilty just getting salary and not doing anything. They are not like that type. சம்பளம் வாங்கினதுக்கு கண்டிப்பா they have to do something. That's the mindset they have. So these people, if you assign a project or any kind of assignment, they will try to complete or try their best to get it done. That is how they activate. See, there are good things. Sometimes participants, if they are on the same page with the leaders, they are considered as good employees. They will get things done for you. But let's assume you have a group of participants, followers, and the leader is an okay leader, not a very good leader. In such cases, if you have more participants, it is dangerous for a bad leader. See, participants will try to do what leader is saying. But if consistently leader is giving some wrong direction, participants will not sit quiet, because if the directions are wrong, you have sometimes the results also may be wrong, or it may be delayed, right? In those cases, they will be affected. At one point, they may raise their voice directly to the leader or to the manager of the leader, saying this is not good. So participants are always good, and the leader has to make sure they are on same page with the leader. And they are the ones who really drive the company than isolates and bystanders. Then the next category is activists. Activists, they blindly see, they are always energetic and engaged, more than participants. They don't think like இந்த சம்பளத்துக்கு நம்ம வேலை அப்படிலாம் கிடையாது. If they are capable of doing more, they will do it. They are kind of like workaholic. They like working, and they don't compare their salary to their capability. If they can do it more than what they're offered, they will do it. So that is the activist. So activist, in any environment, you don't see many of them, but you will see few of them, but their influence will be much, much higher, because they're capable of doing many things others may not be willing to do. So this is where the conflict comes. Let's say you have a team with a lot of activists in that particular team. The leader of the team need to be very, very efficient. If the leader is an average person, obviously there will be conflict, and that leader will not be there for long. Because activists, they need more fuel. to them. It's hard to keep them fed all the time. You have to have new projects, and you have to have some kind of interesting projects to keep them occupied. If the leader is just an average person, let's say, then it's a problem for the leaders, for the team. So that's why if you see some kind of Apple or Google, any companies, if you have a group of highly intelligent, hardworking folks, most of the time, the leader of that particular team, they don't even care where you did your schooling. It all depends on what you can get, how to keep this team engaged. That is the main trait they see. So that is the activist. Then the next part is, one sec. Diehards. See, diehards are one step above activists. They work day and night. Again, it's not for the salary. It's more passion, and they get they think it's their own, like their own child. They consider some of the project like their own child. Whatever it takes, they will make sure it gets done. That's how they work on it. Basically, they take it too personal, and then they keep working on it till it completed. See, diehards are good as long as they are on same page with the leader and the company. Sometimes you would have seen there's a term called whistleblowers, right? You'd have heard that. If they think something is happening against their will, and if they think unethical, it is hard to stop a diehard. They can go against the leader or even against the company, and if it is not complying with their mindset and their set of rules, they're good. That's why diehards, as long as they're aligned with the leader and aligned with the company, it's always good for the company. So you got to make sure again, the values, diehard, there is no one template. One diehard may value 10 things. Those are very important to him, like openness and then flexibility, all those things. For others, it may be different. So as a leader, you need to address so you have to know how to satisfy a diehard, put them in good books. But if sometimes, this is very typical in many companies, a diehard, the company would have taken a particular way of doing things because of changing market, and diehard may not agree with that. In such cases, it is hard to, if we are not able to convince the diehard, the best approach the leader recommend or the company recommends is, let's go in different ways. So that is the best way of doing stuff. So because if you keep the same thing with not having a correct mindset, if they are not aligned on their policies, it will be a chaos at the end. So at one time it is okay, even though it's a good employee. Sometimes, depending on the situation, let them go is a wise thing to do in the long run. So at the end of the day, good followers will actively support a leader who is good. When you say good, he may be a good person, he has to be effective and ethical. If a leader has to be effective, yeah, he may be a soft person or he may be a gentle person, yeah, that is good, but that's not the only trait. You have to be effective, and sometimes you have to be aggressive too to get the projects approved and give the right facts. So good followers also not only support good leaders, they don't support bad followers or oppose them, as I mentioned you before, like whistleblower, or if something which is communicated to them is not correct, they will obviously raise their voices. So they oppose ineffective and unethical leaders. So good followers, I explained. The problem with when you, as a leader, you need to identify these types or use your own skill to identify this. Isolates and bystanders, the problem is they won't tell whether the leader is good or bad. For them, it doesn't matter at all. They don't care. So if you are a CEO and the problem is not with the followers, the problem is the leaders, the CEO may not know if most of the company followers are bystanders or isolates. That's the reason the leader has to see. Sometimes you would have noticed we call it a skip meetings. Normally, a manager will have a meeting with the employee. That is regular thing. Weekly meeting or monthly meeting, status meeting, what's going on. In some situations, probably once in a quarter or once in probably a couple of quarters, there will be a skip level meeting. That means employee will skip the manager and talk to the superior. It may be a senior manager or a senior director. The main reason for this is the idea is followers may open up and tell their problems, and they may point out some inefficiencies in the leaders. That is needed. Otherwise, you think everything is going fine. Ultimately, the results may not be good. So if they complain or if they give some kind of indication, and if you see that similar kind of complaint, then the director or the senior managers, that's his responsibility and duty to talk to the leader and then correct the situation. And same rule applies there. If not able to correct, try to talk, and if they have totally difference of opinion, and then you have to go in different ways. Ultimately, company has to run successfully. So at the end of the day, the key takeaway of this session is leaders and followers are inseparable, indivisible, and both are important like two sides of the coin. With that, I'd like to end my sessions, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Krish. இவ்வளோ நேரம் நம்ம கிருஷ் கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி கிட்ட இருந்து we've been listening. Leaders and followers ரெண்டு பேருமே முக்கியம், ரெண்டு பேருமே எவ்வளோ important for a team to work அப்படிங்கிறது. He is now throwing the session open for any questions. Students நிறைய விசாரிச்சுட்டுலாம் இருக்கிறீங்க, எப்படி இருக்கிறீங்க, என்ன ஏதுன்னு. You can also do that with the speaker if you have any questions. உங்களுடைய செட்டிங்ல, உங்க காலேஜ்ல, உங்களோட என்வாயன்மெண்ட்ல, காலேஜ் டீச்சர்ஸ், ஃபேக்கல்டி யார்கிட்டயோ உங்களோட ஒரு லீடர்ஷிப் நீங்க பார்த்து அதுல எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கிற சின்ன சின்ன விஷயங்கள் ஏதாவது, if you have any questions, you can please post it on chat. 300 and odd students logged in இருக்கிறீங்க. This itself is a great teamwork. I think உங்க காலேஜ்ல இருக்கிற லீடர்ஷிப் is really to be appreciated. அது இருந்தாதான் followers இவ்வளோ இன்டாக்டாவும் இருக்க முடியும். So we do place on record our appreciation for the good leadership in your college. Please, if there are any questions, let's handle it right away.
So students, and the other point is, நீங்க பார்த்திருப்பீங்க ஸ்லைட்ஸ்ல. See, I'm not trying to canvas you guys to be a follower or leader. These are facts based on my experience working with the different companies, different institutions. Ultimately, the decision is yours. you can be successful on both sides, as to like a two sides of the coin. Okay, so you know your strength, and you can take both ways, and everyone in the world, including management, will support you.
I think there are a couple of questions inquiring about how you are. I think they are completely.
I'm not able to see you. Where are the questions?
No. There's one Siddhi Vinayagam who has asked, "Sir, how are you?" So I think
I'm good.
they're not coming up with any other questions. So
Okay.
students, உங்களுக்கு வேற ஏதோ questions இல்லைன்னா at least please log into the links that are being given here for your feedback. We'll be very happy to have your feedback on this session. And இப்போ அவர் கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி இருக்கிற இடத்துல it is past midnight, so I think we should leave him free to go back and attend to his work and take head on the next challenging week ahead. Thank you so much, Krish, for your time and the commitment. And I did get to learn a few tips of handling some leaders here by being good follower, as well as by being a good leader to a team which is working with me. Thank you.
Thank you, student. Thank you, Anandi. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much, sir, and very, very happy that காலையில, அதாவது it is a huge challenge. இது ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ற எங்களுக்கு தான் தெரியும். இத்தனை மாணவர்களை நீங்க ஒருங்கிணைஞ்சு இருக்க வச்சிருக்கிறதுக்கு ஐ திங்க் உங்களுடைய லீடர்ஷிப் கவுண்ட்ஸ் a lot. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.